I've had this happen very close to me. Um, People were standing around, phones in their hands, smartphones, and actually smart people as well. But nobody knew what to do. And that pause cost a lot of lives. What am I talking about? If I should ask you, do you know the difference between a heart attack and a cardiac arrest? Or if someone had a heart attack right in front of you, or if someone had a cardiac arrest right in front of you, would you be able to distinguish between the two? Would you know what to do in that moment? And this is what got me to the point where I thought, no, this is really urgent. It's important, and I need to talk about this. As part of the first aid drill movement, it's all about equipping ourselves with the right knowledge. Okay, right knowledge, right skills, so that we can help our friends, our families. We can just help. We can just help to save lives. People don't need to die unnecessarily. Even if they're gonna die, at least we could try to give them a second chance. But if we don't succeed, at least we tried. But to think that we we didn't try because we didn't have the knowledge, that just breaks me. It kills me. And within the past few weeks, I personally know people who have just passed away as a result of cardiac arrest. Um, a family member of mine just also called me, I think, a week ago, and was telling me about how a colleague, a work colleague, just passed away. They were at work on Friday, and then on Saturday, boom, it's gone. And these are all things that sometimes can be prevented. Okay, so a lot of people think, like I said earlier on, that heart attack and cardiac arrest are the same. They are not. They are completely two different things. And it is this confusion that leads to people dying even in front of help. So I always say this, and I'm going to say this again, that people don't fail because they don't care. People fail because they just don't know, they don't understand. Okay? So think about this. I mean, in the workplace, at the train station, at church, um, in the gym, and then someone suddenly collapses. Just take your mind to that. What do people normally do? People hesitate. Um, some will just instinctively just reach for their phone and call the ambulance. Some will just wait, just freeze, not knowing what to do. But what if waiting is the most dangerous thing that you can do? Think about that. What if waiting is the most dangerous thing you can do? Because if it's a cardiac arrest, waiting is just way too dangerous. Way too dangerous. So, a heart attack is a problem with circulation. When I say circulation, I mean the flow of blood around the body. The heart pumps blood to the rest of the body, every part of the body. When there's a problem with circulation, that is related to heart attack. So what normally happens is the heart is not able to um, pump blood efficiently. Why? And I'll talk about the why. But I'm going to try and keep this video, short and simple. So I get tempted to sometimes drift off and go into too much detail, but I'll try and not chase too many rabbits. Right. So if it's a heart attack, it's a circulation problem. When that happens, the heart is still beating. So that person's heart will still be beating. The person will still be awake. The person will still be alive. They'll still be breathing. So that's your first indicator. So if someone goes, they hold their chest, and then they tell you that they have the pain is going all around, it's going down the arm, it's going up the jaw, but they're still alive. As long as they're going, it means they're alive. They're still breathing. So if that's happening, that should tell you that that is likely to be a heart attack. So first things first. So heart attack is a circulation problem. And in another video, I'll go into much more detail when we talk about other things. But when it comes to a cardiac arrest is an electrical failure. Okay. The heart stops, or the heart goes into what we call ventricular fibrillation. So the heart pumps like that, boom, 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 and every pumping action is sending blood around the body. That is circulation. So blood, it opens up, receives blood from the rest of the body, so deoxygenated blood, and then it pumps again, so the blood goes round. You see, I'm getting tempted to drift into details. Um, how the blood gets oxygenated and all. I'm not going to touch on that. There's another lesson for that. But so that pumping action goes. Just imagine that, boom, 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 boom. So everything's happening fine. Blood is going around the body. Well, good. But then all of a sudden, the heart starts doing this. So instead of this, that, this, that, this, that, now the heart starts doing this. That is fibrillation. Fibrillation. So when that happens, blood is not being circulated around the body. And if blood is not being circulated around the body, that means the brain is not receiving blood or oxygenated blood, or the brain is not receiving oxygen. And so what's going to happen? Then the person is going to what? Collapse. Okay. So when your casualty actually collapses in front of you, then that is likely to be a cardiac arrest. So let's get the difference clear. Okay. So a cardiac arrest is an electrical problem. Electrical problem, the heart stops or goes into fibrillation. The person will collapse. The person will stop breathing. At that point, they are clinically dead within seconds. Sometimes a few minutes, but clinically they're dead within seconds. And that's why a heart attack needs speed. You have to act fast. You have to get help for them fast. So that speed is necessary. But when it comes to a cardiac arrest, it needs action. So cardiac arrest needs action. And the action that we have to take, that's also another lesson. So we'll talk about that, CPR and all of that. But when it's a heart attack, you have to act speedily. The person needs to get help. Whether help is going to come or you're going to get the person to hospital quick, that action needs to be quick. Okay. And when is a cardiac arrest, then action first. So you can think about a heart attack as a plumbing issue, and a cardiac arrest as an electrical issue. Let me just I'm trying not to make this video long, but it looks like I'm not keeping to my promise. So I just want to just demonstrate something really quick. So I'm just gonna draw a sec. I'm not at the moment ready to draw a beautiful heart. The heart has 4 chambers, okay? 4 chambers, right? These are the top ones, and these are the bottom ones. So the atria, so the right atria, left atria. Okay, right atria. So this is my right, yes, and your left. But my right atria, and then left atria, and then left ventricle, and then right ventricle. Now, blood from the rest of the body, when the blood has been used up, all the oxygen has been taken up and everything, the blood needs to come back to the heart to reoxygenate. All that blood comes back through into the top right, so the right atrium. From here, it's going to go down to the left ventricle. From the left ventricle, it goes to the lungs to pick up more oxygen, comes back to the left atrium, and then from here it goes down to the right ventricle, and from here, this is what I call a big boy. This is a big boy chamber, very thick and strong, because from here the blood is pumped to the rest of the body, everywhere. Boom. And from here it's gone, so everywhere receives blood. It sends the oxygen, it delivers oxygen back to every part of the body. Now, so in a heart attack, something has happened, and like I said, it's a plumbing issue. Okay, so the heart will still be beating, but oxygen delivery will not be perfect. The heart will still be beating. Your casualty, or the person, will still be alive. They'll still be breathing, but the heart will not be functioning efficiently. Why? Because, like I said, a plumbing issue. Something is blocked. There's a blockage somewhere. Okay, the arteries, or the vessels that supply blood to the heart, okay, they're everywhere. They go in there. So if I do it better, so you have all these blood vessels that supply blood to every part of what every cell within the heart muscle must receive oxygen. Blood that is full of oxygen, it keeps the cells functioning well. And sometimes there can be a blockage. It could be a blood clot. All right, it could be a blood clot. So a blood clot can clot this artery, the coronary artery. Blood clot can happen here. Blood clot can happen here. Blood clot can occur here. It doesn't announce its presence. So or it could also be a plaque, and there's so much to learn. A plaque is also that build up, within the arteries. So if this is your coronary artery, all right, sometimes there's a build up of plaques, and these build up, it happens over a period of time. So the things we eat, our lifestyle, and all of that, this build up actually narrows this blood vessel. But I'm not, that leads to other things. But what I'm trying to talk about is this buildup. Sometimes some of them can disintegrate. And when they break off, they flow around, they get into circulation. But these coronary arteries, there are tiny ones that feeds blood to every cell. And sometimes these plaques that disintegrate from one part of the artery where there's a buildup can get lodged in these tiny blood vessels inside the heart. And when that happens, just imagine if there's a blockage here. This, do I have another color? Let's say this artery, yes, supplies blood to this part of the heart. So if there's a blockage here, it means the cells or the tissues in this part of the heart, eventually oxygen delivery to that part becomes diminished. It will start slowing down. Now, when the cells stop receiving oxygen and they use up all the oxygen they have, then the cells will start getting damaged. So the cells will start dying off. When the cells will start, remember, this is a part of the heart. So like I said over here, we've got 4 chambers, right? So this blockage that I'm demonstrating here can happen anywhere. this can happen in this chamber, it can happen in that chamber, it can happen in that chamber, because those tiny blood vessels, they're everywhere. They supply blood everywhere. So if that blockage happens in, let's say, in this chamber, and oxygen delivery to this part of the heart becomes diminished, and therefore the cells of this part of the heart starts to die off, it means eventually, if the blockage does not dislodge and move on, and it stays there, and it stays there for days or weeks, and this can happen, and that's why we have to be aware that someone can be having a heart attack for days, if not weeks, a week or two, because this can be going on, and because it doesn't suddenly just stop the heart, this blockage eventually will be affecting the cells of this part of the heart, this chamber, this left ventricle. And so eventually, when that's gone on for so long, and the cells have now all died, or most of it has died, then it means that it's going to affect the function, the pumping action of this chamber. So this chamber will not be able to really squeeze the blood out, the blood that's flowed from here into this chamber. It will not be able to squeeze it, because from here it needs to go to the lungs to pick up oxygen. And if this chamber, this guy is struggling to send blood to the lungs for oxygen, that means oxygen delivery to the rest of the body will be impacted, doesn't it? Because then the blood is not being recycled, the oxygen is not. So eventually oxygen delivery will be impacted. We go hypoxia, where the cells will start losing oxygen, and then the cells will start getting damaged. But in a heart attack, what actually is happening is, because of the cells that are dying off, the cells are cramping, they're struggling. We need oxygen, bring us some oxygen, because that oxygen it's not being delivered because of that blockage. The cells not, they start, and that is the pain that the person feels in their chest. So the cells in that chamber losing oxygen, losing energy, dying off, getting damaged, that process causes the pain in the chest. Oh, my chest, I feel pain. That's what's happening. Now, what I've just described here can happen here. It can happen here. It can happen here. Because, like I said, the coronary arteries, they're everywhere. They supply, the capillaries supply blood to every chamber. So if the blockage happens here, for instance, and this chamber starts dying off, what do you think is going to happen? Because when blood comes from the lungs, when blood goes to the lungs, gets oxygen and comes back to the heart, it enters it enters the heart through this chamber, the left atrium. Now, from here, the blood needs to flow into this chamber. If this chamber is not functioning properly, it's not able to squeeze the blood, it means that blood flow to this chamber is also going to be affected. Okay, so, and this guy will be waiting for the oxygenated blood to send it around the body, but that delivery is not going to be efficient. And so eventually you see how it affects the rest of the body, and therefore also the cells of this chamber will start dying off because of that blockage. If they're not receiving enough oxygen to process energy, then the cells will be dying off. And again, that dying, that whole process of cell damage is what causes the pain. I hope that makes sense. I promise not to go too much. I even told myself I wasn't going to go into this detail, but well, here you go. You get used to this young man already. Yeah, I'm chasing rabbits. Right. Okay. So we see what is happening. So heart attack is a blockage. So when all this is happening, because this can happen for days, it can happen for weeks. By the time the person starts going, maybe this has been going on for a few days already, or in some cases, a week. Before the person, by the time the person goes, this process is going on. So the person is still alive, the person is still breathing. That's a heart attack. there's an attack on the heart. Okay, so and when that happens, speed, speed, speed. I can't stress this enough. You get your phone, you call the emergency services, quick. You let them know that this is a heart attack. Maybe they'll ask you some questions, but let them know they're struggling to breathe, they've got chest pain, and um, they will be on their way. They will tell you what to do, they'll give you the right advice. But I know you might be watching me from some parts of the world where emergency services would be a luxury. Okay, like for instance, my family member who told me about their friend who just passed away. There ain't no emergency services. Who are you calling? Calling the ambulance? Or you'll be waiting for days. So, depending on the part of the world where you are, you might, not have this service, and that's why it's important to know what to do. If you can't get emergency services, then if it you realize there's a heart attack, the best thing to do is to get them into a car, get them to hospital as quick as possible. As quick as possible. That's why I said speed, speed, speed. Okay, as quick as possible. Because if they're able to get to hospital soon enough, then they're specialists. Okay, they know what to do. They get given some infusions that will go, and that blockage. So that blockage is an infusion. Okay, there's some thrombolytes. They go, and then this blockage can be disintegrated. They can get rid of this. You can get this to move. You can get this to put it in simple terms. Let's say they can get this to melt away. Okay, melt away, and then that restores blood flow to that part of the heart, and therefore that restores oxygen delivery to that part of the heart, and boom, the person feels fine again. Now, if they didn't get this sorry, intervention soon enough, then it's possible that some of the cells may have already completely died off or got damaged. But there might still be some, still okay. So um, depending on how long it took before they got the help, will that's what's going to determine how the person gets rehabilitated, gets better. For some people, if the damage was really bad, then they're going to need a lot of um, you know, cardiac support. Okay, so they put them on medication, they monitor them frequently, and all of that. That that is, and that's why speed is of the essence. If you get them to hospital soon enough, and this problem is fixed, then the cells start receive oxygen delivery gets restored. The cells start um, breathing, cellular respiration starts happening again. The cells start making energy, and they're okay. So that is a heart attack. Then that's what you do. Okay. I can go into much more detail about this, but I don't want to. And sometimes a heart attack, don't don't make any assumptions. Don't, don't waste any time, because the thing is, heart attack can quickly develop into a cardiac arrest, and we'll talk about cardiac arrest very soon. A heart attack can quickly develop into a cardiac arrest. Why? Because depending on the chamber, like I said, depending on the chamber that is affected, that will determine how quick the person or your casualty will decline in condition. Now, because put it this way, this supplies blood to this part. From here is going to the lungs. Then from the lungs it comes in here. From here it comes here. Imagine the problem happening here. This is where the delivery is from. Okay, this is where the blood is pumped to the rest of the body. If the cells of this part of the heart they get damaged, then blood is not going anywhere. So it's just not going to pump blood. So the rest will come in, but this is just not going to pump blood, and this can quickly develop into a cardiac arrest, and your casualty will just collapse and stop breathing. So that's what we need to be aware of. Okay, so that's a heart attack. Um, it the thing is, um comments. If there's anything you think you want me to talk about, there's questions you have, just put them in the comments and I'll make sure I address them. Okay. Now, what if is a cardiac arrest? What is it? Like I said, it's an electrical problem. Electrical problem. Okay. Heart attack. So we've learned something so far. Heart attack is what? It's a plumbing issue. There's a blockage. A cardiac arrest is an electrical issue. Now ask yourself in your home, plumbing issue versus electrical fault. Which one's most of the time really urgent? Mm-hmm. You got it right there. Electrical. Okay, because everything goes off, all your lights goes off, all your gadgets goes off, all your appliances goes off, everything goes off. That's more like really an emergency, an urgent situation. Um, but if the sink, if the plumbing under your sink in the kitchen gets blocked, okay, yeah, we can fix it. It's not a dying emergency. Does that make sense? So plumbing versus electrical always is a priority. So a cardiac arrest, the electrical activity, let's say they switch off. They're not switch off, but it gets faulty. All right. So what's happening to you? All right. So again, if I draw the heart again, the heart stops. Like I said, here the person collapses. They stop breathing, and this is where don't. And the story the incident my niece told me about when when a friend collapsed. What were they doing? Straight away they trying to get a taxi, getting a taxi to send a collapsed person to the hospital. That's literally you're sending that person to the mortuary because they'll be dead. They won't be pronounced dead they'll be pronounced dead in hospital, but they didn't die in hospital. Probably got dead before you even got them into that taxi. So when there's a cardiac arrest, you act fast. You act fast. Speed. Boom. You have no time to waste. So what's happening and what do we need to do? What's happening is, remember I showed you about the heart when the boom 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 boom. That boom 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 is controlled by some electricity. Think about your machines. Almost every machine you can see functioning mechanically, boom, 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 or anything. Think about it. Think about any machine in your home or in your workplace. They're almost always controlled by what? An electrical source. There's always some electrical power that needs to go into it. So the same thing with the heart. This action, this boom, 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 it's controlled by electricity. It is. And so the heart has the mechanical side of it, and it has the electrical wiring, the electrical side of it. And it's the electrical side that controls the mechanical side. And if the electrical side that controls the mechanical side goes faulty, that is cardiac arrest. The heart obviously is just going to stop. If there's no electricity, your machine just stops working. Boom. But if that electrical supply is there, then the heart. So when it's a cardiac arrest, the heart will stop. Now, your casualty or the person will stop breathing. They will collapse. So if someone collapses right in front of you and you check and they're not breathing, then it's likely to be a cardiac arrest. Okay, right. So that's what's happening. You see, I don't want to make this video too long, so I'll probably leave it here, and then I'll make part two. Okay, so part two, I'm going to talk about what actually happens with the electrical system on the heart, and um, how it makes the heart stops, and what we can do in that um, in that instance. Okay, because the thing is, we need to know these things. There's so much that we need to know. But we can make it very simple, and that's what the first aid drill movement is all about. Imagine that in every home, there's somebody who at least has some knowledge about what to do in a cardiac arrest or in a heart attack, or if someone's bleeding severely, because that can lead to death as well. So just these basic things. Imagine that every home, we can get every home at least one person to learn this. The out of hospital cardiac arrest numbers that I talked about in my previous video, those numbers must come down. So many people die out of hospital. So many people get cardiac arrest out of hospital than actually the number of people that get cardiac arrest in hospital. So it's a very, that's why I'm saying everyone should just get on board. This is what the first aid drill movement is about: educating everyone, every home. Okay, and we can save lives. This could be your own life, because if you train people, if you learn it and you teach people in your own home, or you practice, you rehearse. Like I said, it's about drills. It's not about certificates. We're not issuing any certificate to anyone here. It's about drills. So you learn it and you keep practicing it. And what I'll be doing is I'll be posting some free PDFs in the bio after these sessions. I'll prepare some so you can go through the steps again. It gives you a structured way what you can do, how you can learn these drills. And the more you do it, the more you build muscle memory, and the better you're able to deal with these things when they happen. You can't learn it once and expect to know it, because you can learn it today, but you may actually be confronted with an issue maybe a year later. You're not going to remember, and that's why drills are important. So drills. First aid movement is all about drills. Let's educate everyone in our homes, in our communities. People are dying too much unnecessarily. Breaks my heart. It does. So yeah, so next I'm going to talk about cardiac arrest, what's actually going on and what we can do and all of that. Yes. So remember, emergencies don't fail us. We fail to rehearse them. Share, spread the information to all your contacts. Stay blessed by the best. I'll see you in the next video. Boom.